Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you know that you are below the age of 18, my strong advice to you is to leave the room right now. Now, my name is Peter Igaga, and I am here. Where are you taking me?
You're below 18.
You're not yet below 18. Yeah, he's trying to insinuate that he's below 18. Now, we are here at the Hilton Garden Inn, one of the most amazing hotels that we recently got in Kampala. A beautiful place. Make it a point of coming to visit it. And the most interesting thing is we're going to be talking about sex toys tonight and how they affect a man's life. Is the use of sex toys by women equivalent to cheating? Well, as I always say on this show, we talk about the things that nobody else wants to talk about. But tonight, we talk about sex toys. And it's for that very reason we have no guests. It is just the men. Gentlemen, sex toys.
Chris, tell us.
Yes.
You're the host.
Yes. Because I want to know how it is in marriage.
No.
If something like that
All
ever came
right,
up.
just to set the pace of this discussion, because Chris, clearly the younger men are a bit, yes, sorry, you can, some very nice, well brewed tea, I can see. Yeah. Thanks a lot. What's your name? Morris. Yes. Thank you very, very much. Yeah. Thanks. Do you use, are you married?
Yes.
You are?
Yeah.
Does your wife use sex toys? You don't say it.
It's okay. This guy is overwhelmed. Why did you do that tonight?
Now, guys, I mean, now, Chris, I'll start with you. In your opinion, is there anything wrong with a married woman using a sex toy? And let's be as open-minded as humanly possible.
So, I think that we need to get back to sex. What's it for?
Yeah.
Right? One, for pleasure between a man and his wife. For procreation. And I think those are two fundamentals. The pleasure and procreation. I come from a school of thought that says when God created the earth and he creates man, creates them male and female, and he said everything was good. In fact, very good. I come from a persuasion that says there was nothing left that needed to be added. I can tell you that human beings are absolutely creative. Like, there's so much we can do. Every part of the human body participates in the act of making love, right? The brain and everything else. Okay, so I struggle to see reason why one would need a toy when you've got the real deal. It's a little like there's a time that Steve Jobs was launching the iPhone.
Yeah.
And he says, well, there are phones that have got buttons. Why do we need buttons? Get rid of them. And then he introduced the screen. And then he says, but there are phones that have a screen and they need a stylus. He says, who needs a stylus when you've got these? Okay? So it's the same thing. Why do you need a toy when you've got everything that's better than a toy at perfect body temperature?
Yeah.
Like, so I struggle with that.
Without fear or favor, aren't we talking about enhancing? I mean, it's just like saying, kids are allowed to play with toys. They were not born with toys, but toys enhance thinking, they enhance creativity. Could be
So Peter, let me just throw that right back to you.
Yeah.
Which child is more creative? The kids that grew up in our era where we used our hands to create the toys, or the ones for whom you have toys made?
I dare say the ones who have toys made for them.
No.
Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because they've skipped a certain stage.
No, Peter. The kids who made those wire cars,
No,
the
they
kids
stuck there.
who played, no, we, come on,
Yeah.
we are brighter lot.
No. I'll tell you what. Because look at the kids now. They are brighter than us. The truth be
No,
told.
Peter, they are not brighter than us because of the toys they have. They're brighter than us because of the information age, the internet and everything. My kids Google stuff and see stuff on video and all that we could not see. Our parents you ask them a question, they tell you a lie, and you have no way to prove it. Now you can't do that to the kids of this age because of the information that they offer. My point is anyway, that, and it might even be lame, to refer to toys really in terms of kids playing with toys or not. But my point is this, is that for there to be fun, for example, if I got toys and there is no human engagement, there would be a problem. If I got, if I decided to have fun without toys, I would have fun.
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah.
I don't think that the most fun I had as a kid, for example,
Was it toy?
was with a toy. Okay.
Okay. All right.
It was with the creativity that came with life. Climbing a mango tree or a jackfruit tree, sometimes you fall. So my point is, really, but seriously, I mean, I've been quipping and all that, but seriously, I think that we need to question why. I mean, if you have sexual dysfunction and there is a medical recommendation, Peter, if you can't get it up, maybe you need help.
Okay.
But why would someone replace what you can do as a husband? I mean, so where do you come in? Like, do you want to be demoted, ejected?
All right, Faisal.
I struggle with it.
According to Chris, there's a high possibility of replacement by the toy. Can't a toy just be rather be a complementary tool rather than a replacement
You
tool?
see, Chris is like those parents who actually think if you're on the PlayStation all the time, it's literally going to replace everyone else around you. You're literally going to replace everyone else around you with the game, which is not true.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking of the worst that could happen. Yeah, you're thinking of this era whereby you know that toy has come, and yes, I mean, me personally, I've seen some of these toys. You cannot compete with these things, you know.
But it's not
They
competition.
shake,
How
they
about-
bend, they do what, you know. They even change temperature these days. They can even become warmer than you. But anyway, my point is, for every scenario, there's a good and there's a bad. And for what you ask, whether it's cheating or not, you have to, I have to bring it down a notch to the whole point of, because a sex toy is literally, it's masturbation. That's just it. You're not going to use it for decoration. You're not going to use it to show off. You're going to use it for that one purpose.
Yeah.
Yes? And some people will tell you, yes, masturbation to some level might be good, but to some level, it is going to be dangerous. Yeah? Because it's going to rob a lot of, first of all, a lot of time from you, a lot of intimacy from your relationship, because now you don't care. You don't care anymore if she has come or he has come. And you're not really bothered because this is not the guy who's pleasing you at this exact time anymore. I now have someone for that.
I have a toy
you
for
now
that.
have a toy for that. So you don't care about the whole intimacy. It's eating up your time, because when you go to work, I had this friend of mine, she'd come to work, and then she's like, after 3 hours, you know, like how people go out for smoke breaks. So for after 3 hours, she has a sex toy break. She's like, let me first go. So it robs away part of that. But then there's also the good part. There are people who can't have sex. They are lame. For some reason, he's in a wheelchair. You know, he's not going to They're not going to carry him and drop him on his wife that, okay, have
right,
sex.
boss.
So some of these things,
Boss, just like I said, Peter,
human creativity,
human
yes, but
creativity has
there's
ways
there's
around
no
so
harm
many things.
in making life easy. Yeah, I mean, would you rather that there are incidences where people have climbed mango trees and broken their backs? So why am I not going to buy my kid a PlayStation to sit there, sit your ass down, play PlayStation? After 2 hours, go and read a book or something. Because for me, I feel like that way you're going to think better. And I mean, there are games right now designed to develop someone's cognitive ability.
Yeah, but
You know?
sex toys, I don't know if they do that. But
I mean, I don't know all of them. You might say they don't, but there are people watching who know that, hey, my sex toy taught me this.
Albert, did you know that sex toys are giving people lessons? Do you think it's cheating if a woman, especially, is using one without your knowledge?
Well, well, I'm going to be slaughtered for some of these comments,
Yeah.
but I will be as honest as I can. There's nothing as sweet as sex for a man when he's having it with his woman. There's nothing as sweet. However, there's nothing as disappointing today, in this era, as having sex with a man. When a woman is having sex with her man, it's so disappointing these days. And so that is one. Put that
Repack
there.
that.
That's
Yeah.
one. I'm now going to unpack another thing. You see, so many people fought the era, the fourth revolution, AI. They fought that so much, and yet it's a battle you will never win. Because in the end, people want the information, people want the technology. Now, that's one thing. Now, let's try to put these things together. Technology and the fact that women want to actually have the pleasure that other women always talk about. Oh, orgasm, this, all those things. So they're always talking about all those, man, they went to the sky and came back, and I went where I was having spasms and all those things that my man didn't give me, that another man did give me. I had it outside my marriage, another man gave me. This is so. I feel personally that rather than having your child of the millennials who used to hide while watching porn, and the guy has the porn in his handset, rather than having all that, if a woman is bringing her sex toy at home, I'm telling you, Sebo, you see this thing, it will do A, B, C, D, and E. What do you think about it?
Yeah.
That is not, I believe, that would not be cheating. Why? Cheating is cheating. It's an exam. You can't say that, oh, if I'm given a computer and I open book, I have cheated in your name. Open book, I have. Then say, no, you cheated because you had an open book exam. No, this is an open book. The person is opening up to you the possibilities of, is actually telling you that, okay, you have a weakness and we can work on it. And it's not a replacement. But if, you see, the problem comes in when you try to fight a battle you can never win.
Because it's going to happen.
It is going to happen. The women these days, it is something, the sex toy is something that I can put in my handbag, put in my pocket, put in my bra, put anywhere. I've seen sex toys as small as this.
I don't know where you're finding these things.
No, I've seen them. Like, I've seen them. Because I've grown up in the era of technology, of information. So I wouldn't lie to you that I have one. I can't have one. What would I use this for? Seriously. So, but what can I tell you is that this is the era where women have this information. These things are bought on eBay, or bought online, are bought everywhere. And they're actually so cheap.
No,
and they are meant. They are not meant. I don't think they were meant to help marriages. I don't think they are meant for that. I think they are meant to help the women.
End of story.
End of story. Now, if a woman is able to tell you, Sebo, can you allow me, if we can have the same, we can drink tea from the same pot.
Yeah.
Meaning have sex with the same understanding. That you can actually help me use this sex toy. If you learn how to use it with me, and if you accept that in your absence, that I will not cheat on you with another man.
But
But
with
I
the
would
toy.
rather no.
Yeah.
I will not cheat with you. But I would rather listen. I would rather use this as a temporal solution
Yeah.
to pleasure.
Well, yeah, now we do have to go into a break. I mean, I know Chris is itching to
This
come
is itching, but he's itching to tell
what
us
you call
about how he climbed a mango tree.
Yes. Now be very careful about the climbing of mango trees, because it could also signify something else. So I wonder what were you doing up on the mango tree, then you fell. But we are here at the Hilton Garden Inn talking about sex toys. Is the use of a sex toy equivalent to cheating? We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back from the break. We are here at the Hilton Garden Inn talking about a subject that's not meant to be discussed amongst 18-year-olds. So if you're there with somebody who's below 18, actually 18 and below, please ask them to leave. Now, Chris, sex toys. Albert had a lot to say about being open-minded. Is there room for that, or can we say you have refused to be open-minded and want to remain traditional?
So, Peter, if anyone has been following this show for the last 3-4 years, you would know that every time I put forward my opinion, people like Peter and others try to put me in a box and say I'm not open-minded, I live in utopia, and stuff like that. So you're used to it, I'm used to it, and I'm not going to allow that to box me in.
Yeah.
Okay, so just so you know, I'm not falling for that. Okay. So I want us to logically think this through.
Yeah.
You've got yourself, you've got body parts that can do things to bring pleasure to your partner. I'm not going to get into what type of sex one would have, because I would like to leave that to the sanctity of
the
a
individual.
relationship, man, wife, you know,
Yeah.
in a marriage scenario. In other words, I'm not going to get overly descriptive. But I can tell you that a lot can happen, and in fact, you'll find that many times the sex toys are imitations of what humans can do, but probably is technology that one has tried to improve to be repetitive, and it's going past the will and reservations and the need for compromise that happen in an ordinary relationship.
Yeah.
Because if you are angry at each other,
There are certain things that won't happen.
sex
Those
would help.
Exactly. Yeah.
If especially, so if a guy is interested in having sex, you cannot maintain lots of anger between you and your wife if you want to have it and enjoy it. So sex has a way in which it gets a man to make some compromises with his wife
Yeah.
and say, okay, let me look over that. So sometimes it helps with forgiveness and patching up the relationship and stuff like that.
You just round it all and call it intimacy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if she's got a toy, or if he has his toy, sorry, I will switch on the thing and sort myself out.
Yeah.
Stay angry, I'm fine. That's problem one. Problem two is that what happens if the vibrator does a better job at clitoral stimulation than his fingers?
It does. It's always going to.
Right?
Yeah.
So here's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So then you have mechanical competition that never fails, that's consistent. So every time you get to the part where you are making effort to bring your wife to the climax of pleasure, she says, Peter, stop, switch on Jenny, she needs to help us here.
But you see,
So then what happens is that over time, it starts to make the other partner feel like they are irrelevant, because at this critical time, since you know you're not as good as Jenny, let's call Jenny in. And so Peter is out, Jenny comes in, and you have a problem.
But just before you get in, Chris, I have one question for you.
Yeah.
When we were kids, a lot of us used to be restricted to drinking soda on Christmas Day, Easter, those kind of things. But we never got addicted to it. So you see, the fact that you use this thing once in a while doesn't mean it's now becomes you, because you're talking about addiction.
You want a quick answer?
Yeah.
When we were kids, we didn't have an addiction soda because there was not enough. Okay? Now that we are older, it wasn't readily available, and it wasn't enough, right? Now that we are older, with Coke plants and all these Pepsi churning out of this soda, it's actually true, Peter. If I were honest, if I asked you and you are honest, you would say you don't take as much soda. Why? Because it's unhealthy. And so you find that in our time, people are actually pulling back from taking colas, right? So it comes full circle. When we were kids, it was attractive to take soda. Now we've taken so much of it, and it's gotten to a point where you're like, pull back. So what I am saying is that sex toy, it creeps in slowly, and it looks like it's an innocent little toy. Albert called it this small. That little thing can break apart a marriage, because it gets to a point where Peter is not necessary, and Sarah is married to Jenny.
Okay, let me say something. Let me say something. Just really quick, so that Faisal doesn't get annoyed if he doesn't talk this segment. So, all I can say is, the problem is that men really don't want to be told where they go wrong, and they really don't want to learn much. But I tell you, Chris, that if the men out there actually wanted to learn, of course, there are avenues like pornography where you can learn certain things, not everything.
Can I just... Albert, I'm sorry. Let me just say, you've pushed that porn card for too long. I'm not going to let it go.
Okay, no, wait.
So I just want to say,
all right, okay.
Porn is not the official way to master skill in sex.
That is what I'm saying. That's why I put a disclaimer. I put a disclaimer.
But the truth be told, a lot of young people do learn.
Peter?
Yeah, not that it's right.
Because one drinks from the gutter, it doesn't make it drinking water.
No, I didn't say so. But it's water that someone has taken, and they have drunk, so they are drinking the water. So to them, they are having drinking water. So someone can look at it. Someone can look at it in any way. So let me tell you that men don't want to learn much. That if you realize, you see, we should look. Let's not always look at something in the negative. Let's look at it that maybe this is a point for me to learn. If this or this is helping her achieve a certain level of satisfaction, what can I do? What on my body would help me have her achieve the same? Then have yourself try to learn. If you look at it that way, then you can.
I'd like to follow that.
Yes,
thought.
yes.
Yes. So you follow me.
No, wait. I'm not yet done. Okay. No. Let me get done. Let me get done. If we had men that want to learn, you see, clitoral stimulation, I want to just point this out, that if men knew how to use maybe parts of their head to actually especially with the brain and other parts, if they learned how to use those parts very well, I'm telling you, there is nothing in the psyche of the ladies that is more satisfying than when a man, even if he doesn't achieve the same clitoral stimulation, in the mind it will be more mind-blowing.
Okay.
You get, that's the difference. It's not the same, because man, this is real technology. This is electricity. This is like fire. It's burning that stuff. So you will never compete with that. But if you show the effort and you are trying, you will try once, you will try twice, but with time it's like a muscle. You keep training it, you keep working it out,
Yeah.
you will learn.
And just before you come in, Chris, something to think about before you follow
Do you want
up
me
on.
to respond?
No, not
Please
yet,
don't
not yet.
I'll take a break.
Well, yeah.
I'll take a tea
Just
break.
when you do
Just
that,
carry on.
something about what Albert has mentioned. Could there be the fact that there are some women who are just not getting sexually satisfied, and it's because communication has broken down? And if that need was addressed, they'll not need that. Faisal.
Let me go back to the past of
The
back
mango
to some
tree.
a relationship I was in once.
Okay, all right.
So
This is interesting.
This is me in my late campus years. Yeah. So I get this girl, and this girl had a very, very high sex drive. Like, this is someone who wants to have sex every day and not just once. In the morning, in the evening, you go for lectures, you come back. It's a routine for her that she's used to. So, I kid you not, you reach a point where you just want to give up, and you're like, you know what, I'm tired. You're even there, you're forcing your man, you're telling your man, don't disappoint me, don't make me look bad. Yeah, but I would like, at some point in time it just became too much. And this girl is like, when I talked to someone about it, they told me, look here, it's not about you. Yeah, because this is a girl, if you're not able to function, she'll be like, okay, me I have my toy, I'll please myself. And in my head I used to look at it the way Chris looks at it. I used to feel like this thing is replacing me, like it's replacing me. But in my head I couldn't step up, because I'm not going to start buying Viagra at campus. It's so expensive.
Okay, so
That
that's
was
the
the
only
reason.
reason.
Oh my god, it was expensive, man. I couldn't. But anyway, let me just go on. So I thought it was my problem. Like, I psychologically was like, you know what? I'm a guy who cannot satisfy my woman. I'm a failure. But when I talk to someone about it, they're like, no, look here, it's not your problem. This girl has a high sex drive. Some people are just wired like that. Some people just have sex a lot. Some people have sex not a lot, and some people are just moderate. Yeah. So it's like, you know what? If this toy is not stealing away from your relationship, if it's not stealing time, if it's not stealing intimacy,
Then it's
if it's
adding.
not stealing the good bits of your relationship away from you, literally I was mad for nothing. Let me finish.
Says the man
Let me finish.
who dumped the girl a long time ago.
You don't know what happened.
For other reasons. For other reasons.
Anyway,
No,
let me just finish.
okay.
So this guy's like, you know what, Faisal, it's not your problem. You see, the problem with men is whenever something bad happens in the sex category, the sex area of a relationship, they run to think, oh my God, it's me. I can't satisfy my woman. How can it be? You know, she sleeps and she hasn't had sex, and in the morning she tells you, you know, you slept off. You're like, how could I have slept off without satisfying my woman? But sometimes it's not you, it's actually her. And if she has a higher sex drive that you cannot match, what are you going to do?
Not take Viagra anyway.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
now, Chris, I need just building off what Faisal has said. Is it better for a married woman to have a sex toy, or rather get a replacement for husband if he's not up to scratch?
His
Don't answer
none
that.
of those two.
We're here at the Hilton Garden Inn, and we are talking about sex toys. Are they a problem in our marriages today? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back from the break. We are here at the Hilton Garden Inn talking about sex toys in a relationship. We want to hear from you. Let's get this discussion going. Already we've had a bit of chat about it on Twitter, and a lot of you men out there, some even say that it is. There's a guy who said it's evil, that it's sacrilegious, a whole bunch of things. But are we just closing our minds and not being open-minded? I don't know. Chris, which is the lesser evil? Actual cheating or using a sex drive? Because a woman who buys a sex toy to satisfy her extreme sex drive that her husband cannot satisfy, I think is showing him love.
So Peter, most of the time, when you're asked an either or question, you need to give a third alternative. Because what you're trying to do is box me into choose which evil. I choose none of the evil.
I told you it's going to choose none.
because it's evil. It's evil for a woman to cheat on her husband via another man.
Yeah.
And it's also evil for her to cheat on her husband via a toy.
No, that's not
She's
cheating.
not cheating. She's just satisfying her
Did you
lust.
ask me my opinion?
Okay.
Yeah?
No.
Okay,
I mean,
great.
he did. I did.
Great, great. I thought so.
Yeah.
I thought so. So I think that we then need to look at what is the issue. And I think Albert alluded to it some bit. We spend 18 years plus being trained to work a job in a hotel as an IT developer of some sort. Things we are trained 18 years plus to be an architect, to be all these things that we are marketer, right? And marriage, we see someone and we walk to the wherever and say we start. And some people don't even go through marital counseling. They just see someone like these young kids, as he was saying. You're on campus, you've not even passed 2 papers, and you're trying to experiment with things for adults. So then you have a problem. Because people are approaching marriage, and especially sex, as something that anyone can do because you have biological function. And I think that's wrong. I think that there's a place for learning. There's a place for reading together. There's a place for building communication. There's a place for trying things out. Learning where you are not good, listening to your partner, because I'll tell you, if any man who's experienced sexually approached any woman who's experienced sexually and she can be able to communicate, you will find that the things he thinks switch on women are not the ones. Because people are different. We are not one big experiment, toy girls on this side and toy guys on this side. We are not.
Something's cut across.
Peter, I'll tell you, you'll knock
Chris.
into walls.
But how do you
So,
know?
I'm a pastor.
That cut is out.
They tell you.
Okay.
Finally.
Yeah.
So here's the thing then. What you find is that we need to be open to learning and listening to each other and communicating, especially as couples, married couples, in the act of making love, to listen to each other. I wish I could tell you I've aced it, like I am the pro. I've been 15 years married and I'm still learning things, right? And I think we need to all be open to that. That's number one. Because sex, like all good things, is not microwaved. Good sex. You keep growing and adjusting as the bodies adjust, as you grow older, things keep changing. So that's one. Number two is there is a great book in the Bible. It's smack in the middle of the Bible. It's called Song of Songs or Song of Solomon. It's wonderful. Concerning sex education, it will tell you things. It teaches you foreplay. And in there is something interesting that it mentions about raisins. Raisins are aphrodisiacs.
Yeah.
All right? So, God's opinion on improving things is play. Just keep playing with each other a lot, but also add something like an aphrodisiac. Because yes,
Exactly,
Peter.
like a toy.
No, an aphrodisiac is not a toy, Peter.
Because then
No,
they
you
were
can't-
raisins. Then they were just
Please
raisins.
do not insult
Oh, God,
our
this-
audience.
This is
You know where I'm
crazy.
going with this?
No,
And
no,
I'll tell you
Peter,
what-
an aphrodisiac is not a toy.
a toy can actually
Peter,
be.
Peter, did you go to school? What's an aphrodisiac?
Let me tell you what.
Aha,
There are toys.
aphrodisiac is.
There are
Peter, an
toys.
aphrodisiac is.
That's what I'm explaining to you. There are toys.
Peter,
which
I'm not talking to toys. What is an aphrodisiac?
There are toys which are chewable
Peter, what is an aphrodisiac?
and they stimulate you. They're aphrodisiacs. They are
Okay.
toys and you eat them.
It's not. If it's edible, it's not a toy.
It is. Chris,
It's an
come on.
aphrodisiac.
No.
Peter,
Okay,
pull out
what-
your phone,
let-
everyone.
let me
Google
just-
aphrodisiac.
no,
An aphrodisiac
no
is
need.
something
Okay,
that
I hope this
that
part is not-
embellishes.
Do you
No,
know
it's there.
Do you know there's edible underwear?
Peter,
Jesus.
aphrodisiac.
I mean-
Listen,
Gosh, anyway. Back to
it's chocolatey, for example, aphrodisiac. point is, an aphrodisiac is something that one can take in that
Toys that are
embellishes
eaten.
their sexual feelings.
Yes.
Okay, right? It's not a toy. Now,
There are toys that have that.
it's not a toy. Okay, an aphrodisiac is not a toy. And my point, because you're trying to rob it away from me and it's in the Bible, let me say,
Okay, that's
let me say,
Okay, yeah.
aphrodisiacs are helpful, guys, right? So here's the thing. I think that God's idea is that we play together as we make love. God's idea is not to get a substitute to our playing. In other words, don't delegate your play time to a machine. Play with your spouse.
With the
Chris,
machine.
but yes, but then Chris,
Exactly.
but
No,
Chris,
with the machine.
Because you're not going to eat
I'm going
aphrodisiac. You're not going
to
to eat
ask Albert
aphrodisiac
to
thing
chip
that
in here.
goes stay in
I'm
the
seeing, but I'm not for sex toys, but
Peter, can I just say, this is classic. You
But
keep on saying, I'm not for that thing, and
no,
then you're for it.
no,
say.
I'm being open-minded. What if she wants it? Isn't it selfish of you to say no?
No.
But Peter, why can't you get your wife to have an orgasm?
What if
What's
she-
your problem?
No,
Well,
what
we are
if
not
she
all
wants?
gifted.
Yeah,
It's
no,
a
not
gifted
only that.
like you mean.
Oh,
What
hey,
can't you
hey,
learn?
hey, can I
People
say
are different.
something?
You're the same person
You
who
learn.
say yes, but you're the same person who
You
say
learn.
people are different.
Young
And there are some men who
young
are
man,
incapable
young
of
man.
learning.
You
also,
learn.
Incapable of
wait,
learning.
just-
the same thing Albert
Just
said,
wait,
actually.
just wait.
Yes.
What I don't even mean
What shall we
not
do
being
for
able
this
to do
generation?
it. You have traveled. You're in a long distance relationship, and she says, "Chris, I want that." You're going to say no,
Peter, this
You
is
will wait
this-
for me.
Yes, and this is why
You're
I
a
keep on
dictator.
telling you guys, listen to God, He knows what He's doing. You know why it's important for you to hold back sex before you get married? You build self-control. Do you know how many times I've traveled and I don't have to use a machine or toy or doll or something?
But the-
Because you have practiced how to have self-control. You guys keep on breaking God's rules, right? Thinking He's old-fashioned. Then you get into problems. So now because you trained yourself, you can't hold
Okay.
it. Now you need a toy.
Personally, personally, I'm of a school of thought. I don't think God would punish someone if two guys agreed, let's use a toy. I don't think anyone would. I don't think God would say, like, you both agreed. It's in your marriage, and you'll be like, okay, I want to use this. Do you accept? Yes. And you have actually no problem with it. Or can I learn to also help you use it? Oh, okay, no problem. This is how you do. This is how you switch it on.
Yeah.
If there's no power, you can maybe charge the
You
batteries.
get batteries.
Or maybe exactly. Maybe
solar.
We
maybe
need
solar.
solar.
Exactly.
need solar.
If you don't have solar,
Uh-huh.
you need an alligator,
Yes.
something.
Then if things fail, you can use the washing machine. You can do a lot of things and to make things work. If there's an agreement, I don't think that's my point. If as long as there's that communication and there's an agreement, cheating would be when someone hides something, when someone does not. It's like the question. I think right now you're asking a question that my friend has always told me about. When someone says omission is lying. When I say something, omission is lying, and then when you say
lying by omission,
yeah,
yes.
lying by omission, yeah, that's for me. If I omit something, I've just omitted it. That's me. That's me. So that's the same
White
thing that.
lie.
You never. I'm trying to tell someone. I don't think someone is cheating when you've agreed, and more so when you know there is that confidence. The woman has that. Okay, this guy, I can actually tell him what is wrong with
I was
him.
just about
I can open to him. I can actually tell him, oh look, maybe your fingers are quite short.
But first of all, okay. But first of all, I think I need to clarify something. Forget about the short finger.
Okay.
A toy does not necessarily have to be used
Yes.
when there is a problem. Right?
No, yeah.
And I think if your woman cannot come and talk to you about it, you are the problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't say
of course
she's
they're
cheating on
hiding
you.
it.
Yes,
Yeah.
Because
she's
of
hiding
your
because
reaction. They
Exactly,
know
yeah.
if I tell this guy, he's just going to go nuts. He's going to think it's
Yeah.
about him. He doesn't have, the sexual stamina or whatever, which
Exactly,
is
yeah.
what men always do.
And I'll go back to my
a
very
woman does something else, the
Yes.
first thing a man is going to think about is, I think I failed to satisfy.
Yes, and I'll go back to my second package. If you want to fight AI, in this era, I'm telling you, you're going to fight a battle, which I'm telling you, and it happened. Dildos weren't so common even in 2010. They weren't as common in Uganda now as they are today. They weren't as common, but right now, hey, even I've seen on it's called.
So we're about to even have dildos that have Siri talking in them. But my point, the thing is, when we talk about cheating, and I think again it's context and perspective,
Yes.
because it's possible that one can be cheated of the opportunity to be the one that brings that pleasure to your spouse.
Yeah, but if you can't bring the pleasure,
Faizo.
I'm not cheating.
Because
you already
did you
can't
hear what
bring
I
the
said?
pleasure.
Yes, it's a
Yes.
possibility. It's a
Okay,
possibility.
so have you had?
Yes.
You can be cheated of the opportunity to bring pleasure to your spouse. And I can tell you what, because of how powerful sex is and how powerful those memories of pleasure are, when you are not the one bringing that pleasure, you start to fade away.
Yeah, true.
But that's not true.
And I'll tell you, that's a big deal.
Yeah, but
Okay,
that's
now we
not
do
true.
have to wrap up the show and get into our parting shot. Faisal, okay, we'll start with you.
It was already done anyway.
He's working.
I'll go last.
Yes,
You go
But
last.
anyway, what he's saying, what you just said is not true, because first of all, not all women are for sex toys. It would be true if every woman was into having it, but not every woman is. Some women are okay with their men and they don't want any addition or subtraction or whatever. Yeah, but what I was trying to lament to is, if you've both agreed, like Albert said, and I insisted, this object is not robbing intimacy from your relationship. It's not robbing time. It's not making the other person feel less of who they are in a relationship. I don't really see why you call it cheating. Because first of all, it's not violating the sanctity of monogamy. It's not a person. Yeah? Am I wrong?
Okay.
You're
Yeah, you're parting shot.
We're
You've
not
got
waiting
to-
for you.
I'm done.
Oh, okay. In 1 minute, Albert.
Oh, I'm just going to be very brief on this. I'm one who believes men should go back to their have that manhood, that instinct, that will to learn, that will to conquer. If a machine is able to do something, what can you learn from this machine to better yourself?
I tried.
What can you try? There's even trying. It takes you, the biggest step is just the first step. After that, it's steep. You keep going up. A good ladder you can climb on. Learn as much as possible. And communicate with your partners. Tell them of the sex toys you have. Get them out of the closet. Line them up and tell them this is for midnight. And be honest. If you start with that, then you start to have I think a healthier relationship. When you start to communicate and you teach the man these things, and maybe and that's when you actually start to eliminate infidelity and lies and the actual cheating, what we actually call cheating with the human beings. And if there is no one in your bed and it's a machine, how do you throw out the machine? Fine, you be the better machine if you want to throw out the machine.
Okay. Chris, it's been a tough one.
No, not at all.
You got this.
I've been married 15 years.
Yeah.
And we are happy in that area.
Yeah.
These guys have been experimenting for a few.
No. Oh, he says he has
Much
been.
fewer than mine. This is what I want to say, friends. When you invite a little cat-looking thing and you think it's a kitten, and it's a lion cub,
It's called a pussy.
it's going to grow. And before long, it becomes a lion and it will eat you. Sex toys sound innocent. What they do is eventually they rob you of the opportunity of giving pleasure to your spouse. And that is the only thing you can do for that person. So when a toy comes in between you and your spouse, I think you're headed downhill. My advice to you is, no matter how much attractive a sex toy is, avoid it. Learn, grow, experiment, play together, play with each other, it helps you. And can I tell you what? Since Adam, people have been having sex, and it was good for thousands of years without dildos and toys. I guarantee you, you don't need it now.
They were actually doing
Okay, well, we've heard it from the men. We've been talking about sex toys. Mine is very simple. I'm open-minded. I think a sex toy cannot replace a human being, because we all know women build up to sex, and a sex toy does one thing. So there's always, and there will always be, a place for human interaction. A sex toy can never replace a human in any way. And with those few words, I want you to stay blessed. Those who have toys, be blessed with them. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week only on Men.